I'm Larry Menti. Coming up next on Jersey Matters, are you against the gas tax? We'll meet a woman who is leading the opposition. She is one of the top Republicans in the state. Also, we're going to meet a man who brings just a little bit of joy, a nice break for people and their families who get the worst diagnosis you can imagine. Those stories and a whole lot more, because Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. Welcome to Jersey Matters. It seems like from everything you read, the gas tax is going to happen in some form or another, although now it's in limbo. The person fighting that gas tax has been for some time. Leading the opposition is Senator Jennifer Beck from the 11th District. She's a Republican in Monmouth County. Thank you so much for coming. How long have you been fighting this?
Well, if I think back till since I was in the Assembly in 2006 and a member of the Assembly Transportation Committee, there was talk about raising the gas tax then, and I was vocally opposed, as I am now.
Why?
It is a regressive tax, and it affects people that are trying to get to work. They have no choice. They've got to drive and already feel the pressure of taxes. Property taxes, sales tax, income tax, they're barely making it. And then the legislature in the dead of June decides to try to ram through $1 billion tax increase on them when they think they're not looking. People are outraged.
We'll talk about the outrage in a second, but from what you hear, and this is the way it was sold, at least at first, is the tax was on out-of-towners that were riding through. And they were the ones that would pay the brunt of it. And then they would give some of that money back by reducing the sales tax to New Jerseyans, as if the out-of-towners don't buy anything when they drive through. But they give it to New Jerseyans, and that's how they make up. What is wrong with that plan? So
there is zero evidence, no data to support that the majority of a gas tax would be funded by out-of-staters. None. AAA...
Even if you make it up elsewhere by reducing a tax?
AAA does not have that data. You know, originally it was said that they did. They don't. The state of New Jersey can't provide that information, so no one should be fooled that somehow out-of-staters would pay the most of this. And you got to remember, there are 6.54 licensed New Jersey drivers in the state, and we have 9 million residents, so roughly 77% of all our residents have a license. 5 million registered vehicles. By the way, 3 million of them are 11 years old or to 30 years old. So 1980 vintage to 2005 vintage, not efficient cars, do not get 20 miles per gallon. Nobody fell for it. No one fell for it. It was a shell game to try to dupe the general public into thinking they were getting something great, and they were really getting a wolf in sheep's clothing.
But where else is there to tax? Where else is there to get money for this transportation fund?
So, as you may recall, I rolled out my own plan in December of 2015 that requires no increase in the gas tax. A 7-year plan, $1.6 billion a year, and it relies on us making changes, reforms to government to save money and free up existing revenue to fund the Transportation Trust Fund.
Go ahead.
I think, look, if the governor believes that we can lower the sales tax by a penny, which equates to $1.5 billion, then we have enough money to fund transportation with no increase in taxation. I wasn't that aggressive in my plan. My plan requires some borrowing and some pay-go and leaves us in year 7 with 80%.
Doesn't it also require some give-backs by state unions, especially when it comes to health benefits?
Absolutely.
And would that be the stumbling block with it?
Well,
especially in a Democratic legislature?
Look, the federal government's going to require it of us anyway. We have platinum health care plans. Family plans cost $40,000 in premium a year. The feds in 2022 are going to require the state of New Jersey to rein in our health benefits anyway. We got to do it. So I'm talking about rolling it back to maybe a Cadillac plan, not diminishing benefits to a point where they're unacceptable. And a Cadillac plan will be better than you and most of our private sector folks get in this state.
But so how much money, you'd borrow the money up front though, right?
So
because we're at a crisis now.
So it is a combination of pay-as-you-go and borrowing, which is the same as the Sarlo-Orho plan, $15 billion in borrowing as authorized under their bill, $20 billion in transportation funds for 10 years. But remember, they don't allocate on a per year basis. So their bill, actually, you could blow through all of that money in the first 5 years, all 20 billion, and then be stuck with no money for the next 5 years. There were lots of problems with the proposal, but I think the biggest issue for the residents of Monmouth County, and I'm going to say state of New Jersey, is they're overtaxed.
I know you wanted to talk about school funding. We'll talk about that when we come back, and we'll also talk about a little bit of politics, maybe Donald Trump. When Jersey Matters continues with Senator Jennifer Beck.